Medical fraud uncovered.
Elderly biled for services never done? Phony lab claims on BCBS are targeting seniors. This is ghost billing fraud. Check your EOBs now. Don't let fraudsters steal from you.
Folks, I'm not really an investigative reporter, even though I come up with some pretty cool stuff that I've been covering throughout Chicago and corruption. This is the biggest thing I came across ever since I've been doing this. It's our Illinois' little baby Nick Shirley moment. Absolutely 100% we've got medical fraud and possibly voter fraud. So I'm doing a show Tuesday. I know in this video I'm going to show you. I said Thursday. This is going to come up on Tuesday. And thanks to my friend Teresa, she uncovered something huge. I'm not going to get into details of how or why or what, but this is huge. We've got some Muslim companies that are going into convalescent homes, capturing driver's licenses and social security numbers. We got another one that's doing testing services. There's a collaboration between the two. This is an early on investigation. The FBI is involved now. So what we know for sure, absolutely for sure, that the other company that you're going to hear in this next teaser video is billing Blue Cross Blue Shield for testing services that people never ever got. So I got one piece of evidence from one person that charged Blue Cross Blue Shield 32 times and sometimes multiple times in this very same day, right? And so we do know that there's fraud going on with the convalescent homes, and probably it's being looked at for election fraud as well, which, Illinois is ripe for that, right? So this is my most important thing I've uncovered yet with the help from my friend Teresa, and we're going to expose it. It's early on investigation. You're going to hear some companies' names in this next video I'm going to play from you that I took inside the facility. I actually set up my little tripod, sat at their desk. The building was open. They obviously left their building open and ran out. The front door, the back door is open. So they know they're under investigation. I talked to some of the property owners of the tenants next door. They confirmed the FBI has been out there. Blue Cross Blue Shield has their investigative team out there. So this is going to be huge. There's some other companies that I did not mention in this next video you're going to hear that are tied to Medicare fraud. So watch this. Please share it. And we're going to get more specific on Tuesday. But this is a little teaser. Thank you. Give you a summary about this company. I just walked in, as you saw. It's wide open. Nobody's here. Front door's open. Back door's open. And so this is a NIRA LLC. It's a clinical lab in Crystal Lake ran by Mohammed Ibrahim Quadri, who is allegedly billing Blue Cross Blue Shield for multiple tests that were never, ever performed. And I have evidence, which I will show on Thursday. I'll show some here today, too, of just one individual who was charged 32 times for testing lab services that were never done. So, for instance, you submitted multiple claims totaling $503, each broken down in laboratory service lines of $223.51, another one for $171.21, another one for $109, all on the same dates, It's been repeated across other dates like 10/14, 9/24, 25, 12/23 of 25, 10/02 of 25, 12/4 of 2025, 11/17 of 2025. I'm going to show you guys this. There's others that were flagged by the insurer saying that we need more information. So here's how it seems to work so far. What we know, this is an ongoing investigation. I know for a fact the FBI is investigating them too, right? There's another Muslim-owned company that goes into elderly homes and nursing facilities that offers the on-site physical testing, capturing of the data. They are collecting driver's licenses and full social security numbers, unusually invasive for simple tests like that. That's not required. It triggered the person who led me to this information, right? That sensitive data and samples are then passed to NIRA, which turns around and submits them to false bills for Blue Cross Blue Shield. When my friend Teresa visited this location a month ago, it was open, just like I found it here. It was wide open, no staff, piles of unopened mail. That's gone now, right? More suspicious, there's a company called Star LLC that was listed at the same address in their mailbox, which I'll show you, but it's only disclosed when the mailbox opens, and the postman can see that inside. So there's mail coming here that this company does not want to be visible on the outside of the mailbox. So we think there's ties from this company, Star LLC, to offshore accounts, right? So we believe there's data harvesting that could tie into possibly voter fraud risks as well. Given the personal identifiers and collected from these seniors, this operation reportedly is in the very early stages and the FBI is investigating. So Teresa's going to join me on Behind Enemy Lines this Thursday night with more evidence and details. I'm going to have someone else from my team, Lisa, who's involved with investigating voter fraud, right? And as we know, a lot of this occurs within the senior citizens' homes, right? The convalescent homes. So we know who the company, we think they're both Pakistani Muslims, right? Coincidentally, the one that does the testing on site and then this company. And this company and Star LLC and other companies are all listed to the same owner here, Mohammed Ibrahim Quadri. Now, why is this open on a Saturday afternoon at 2 in the afternoon? The back door is open. So I'm going to take some pictures and show you what's going on here. What we needed here. This is a fake shell of a company. Nobody here. Everything's open. Unused equipment. I think they probably figured out they were under investigation. And they left. I bet you we won't even be able to find the owner. Mohammed. There's lots of Mohammeds out there.
Watch Behind Enemy Lines, Tuesday, June 3rd.
Hey, welcome to Behind Enemy Lines. So Mike and I have my special guest, Therese, and she's the one that actually gets the credit for bringing this to our attention, of which she waited 2 months for me to do something on it, by the way. I've been distracted with many things going on. Between the rhino, between moving and all these other crazy things that going on in my life. So, but I finally got off my lazy ass and started looking into this. And it's pretty amazing on what Teresa, was able to uncover. So I'm going to have her talk a little bit about what she can share. Not everything can be shared, but she'll talk a little bit about how we got to where we're at now. So say hello.
Hello, how are you? You hear me all right? So
Yeah.
it sort of started with a friend. I've done a lot in community service. So a friend reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got all these bills. It's weird. What do you think?" And I said, "Let me take a look at them." I'm like, "Holy cow! You'd have to be a lab rat to get that many tests in one day. I mean, what's going on here?" And so started to look at it, and I'm like, "You know what? Take a ride out there. Let's take a ride and go see." And I sent one of my friends out first, and he went in, and he's like, "I'm just going to act like I need a test," and he took some pictures and then he goes, "There's nobody here." And that was on a Tuesday that he walked in, a Tuesday afternoon. Nobody's there. So I went next, and I went on a Friday, and I walked through there, and nobody there, and looked at some of the mail, and I saw federal employee program on one of them. So Blue Cross Blue Shield was um, actually billing federal employee program. When I saw the stacks of mail and everything, I was like, oh boy. I looked and I saw that there was testing machines that had never even had been cracked open. Refrigerators not plugged in, and just obvious signs that this is not a testing lab whatsoever. So that's when I said, okay, we got a big problem here. So I reached out to IDPH, which was the person that certified the place. And when I reached out and I said, you guys need to do something, I was told by their legal counsel that I said, hey, send somebody out there. You guys need to shut this down. I said, I've got pictures and everything. And I said, I'm going to give them to somebody. And she said, I bet you a reporter would love to get their grubby hands on these pictures. Okay. I go, carry on. I go, I'll just take it to the next step. So that's what I did. I took it to Terry, took it to a couple other places, and handed it over and said, here's what we got going on.
So just to clarify, IDPH, what is that?
That's Illinois Department of Health.
Public
There,
health.
yep. So you'll show the cert that they are certified. So you look at NPI. So an NPI is how they dictate what that company is doing. And so they were a billing company. They were billing and testing. they were COVID or pregnancy testing. So they couldn't do just every testing. So it was COVID or pregnancy testing. So it'd be a hard pass for me to walk in and act like I was going to get a pregnancy test, but it was worth a try. Anyway, so long story short is my friend had said she had called Blue Cross Blue Shield multiple times. And not only that, this is the third time it's happened to her. So she's had this happen to her 3 times. One time, a few years back, it was for transgender things, and she's definitely not transitioning. So they were billing that, and that actually got busted, and Terry's going to hit on that. And then there was one in between it, and this one is when she finally reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you take a look at this? This is crazy. I can't handle this. Blue Cross Blue Shield's not doing anything. Nobody's listening to me. I filed a police report. Nobody's doing anything."
So thank God Treese uncovered it. I think this is going to be very huge. We're doing this show for a couple things. One, we want to show you guys what she found and what's going on at the beginning of this investigation. Number two, we hope this creates awareness, right? So those of you who are watching this show, if you have stories like this, or any goofy billing or billing for services you never did, please reach out to us. We're on all the different platforms. You could connect to us that way, and it's up to us. Our government obviously can't do a good job at it, right? I mean, look at what Nick Shirley did, young 21-year-old kid, and it seemed like both administrations. It doesn't matter now. Trump is jumping on it, but I mean, before that, this stuff's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
It's getting worse.
And the thing is, you look at right now, our seniors are getting billed so much that they have to choose between medications and eating and living. And when we see our Medicare, Medicaid being denied to people, you have to look at why it's being denied. If we keep this fraud rolling and we allow this fraud and we don't go after recovery of the fraud funds, we who pay in, and we as the people that are supposed to be taking care of people that are rightfully owed this Medicare and Medicaid, it won't be there.
Yeah.
So we need to be diligent, and we need to fight, and we need to pay attention. When you're driving down the street and you see a place that's not got any cars in the driveway, send it to Terry. We need to be the eyes and the feet on the street.
Yeah, or if you see a lot of turbans going in and out, that's another sign.
Yeah, a bunch of guys named Mohammed. Well, I want to underscore something you said there real quick, because I think this is important, because this is the same scam that we heard about going on in Minnesota. And as soon as they started cracking down on it, you had people that had like legitimate, Medicaid, Medicare were getting services. But once the fraudsters were caught, suddenly everything was cut off and they weren't getting the treatment they needed. And then because it was getting some legitimate treatment, this sounds like it's all fraud, but in their cases, it was some legitimate treatment, but then they were getting bills submitted in their name for treatment they never received. So that's what sounds like happened to your friend. They got notices in the mail for testing, or unless your friend was secretly transitioning, becoming her more authentic self, getting billed these high dollar items that are just getting rubber stamped and pushed through so that these little jihadis can bill for all that treatment, rip off the American taxpayer, and then lap all the way to the bank. I mean, from a state of this office, I wouldn't be surprised they're already out of the country. They're already back in, Mogadishu or wherever else, living the high life, because they've ripped us off for millions of dollars over the last 5 years while nobody was watching the cookie jar.
They are absolutely gone.
What else are they financing? What are they financing? What are they? The biggest thing to me is that I always want to take care of other people, and to know that seniors struggle, and we're seeing those billings go up for them, and
Yeah.
they're the most vulnerable, and they're not able to. I mean, it's confusing. I just got medical billing, and I had to look at it twice and go, okay, what's this? What's that? So that I know somebody else that got double billed, and she's waiting until after her surgery to go after them for the double billing. So,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough for the seniors, especially.
And for anyone in general too, like, these people can be using your insurance and billing it for stuff that you don't know, and then you might need it for yourself and they don't have it available for you. Well, you already billed us $100,000-$200,000 and you don't have the ability to do it. And so all the companies we're talking about tonight, right, all are Muslim owned, all of them, right? This isn't a racist thing, this is a factual thing. They're all Muslim owned. Now, not all medical fraud is not all Muslim. It just happens to be a coincidence. Like there's a lot of them, right? So, for instance, in Oak Lawn, where I grew up, everyone probably saw that there was an arrest recently for a methadone lab. A guy named Dan Robinson. You can't get anywhere whiter than that. And he owned ODA Solutions, 75 million in fake billing, right? For methadone.
Butt naked.
Yeah.
Butt naked. That's his boat.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Butt
yes. Oh,
naked.
yeah. I did. Yeah.
Don't leave that juicy part out.
Yeah.
That's his boat.
Yeah. It's gonna be called Butthole when he gets in jail. So
I'll leave that one alone.
So this is not just, it covers all races, but there happens to be a lot of criminal element that's in the medical field that are Muslims and other, there's lots of them, and that's what we're seeing. The Somalis up there, doing the same thing. So please be vigilant and see, if you see anything. Mike, you want to throw up the mailbox? We'll go through a couple of still photos.
Yeah.
Right. So this here, and again, Therese gets credit. She brought this to my attention. So that mailbox is for Naira. Naira, we're saying it right. And it says that on the external part of the box, but inside you'll see MedTech Med Supply Star Foundation. Well, guess who owns that? Mohammed Ibrahim Quadri, the same guy that owns Naira, right? And so we're looking into, there's definitely going to be, there's a reason he's hiding that inside the mailbox. He doesn't want, the mailman will see it when he opens it, but there's a reason it's not on the exterior of the mailbox. And we're going to find out why.
Dude, there's a payroll company on there too, which I'm sure he also owns. And this is, how much you want to bet this will be the same scam we've seen elsewhere, where they're laundering people through that, having them work at different jobs, taking a cut of the paycheck. And that's how they get illegal aliens employed at unscrupulous facilities. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. So I forgot. Put up the next picture, Mike. We'll wing it from there.
Sounds good.
Oh, so yeah, this is important. So these bins, that's all. Look at all that.
Yeah.
Those are EOBs, explanation of benefits. You know what? They're all Blue Cross Blue Shield.
They're pretty much, they're
Is
all,
that who they're
because
scamming?
Blue Cross Blue Shield does all the billing for Medicaid. That's the Blue.
For Illinois.
Yeah, they have the contract, so that's why. And if you went to the front door, it had a sign on there that was all whited out from the sun that said, "Please leave mail."
The inside door was open.
The door was open, but it had a sign, "Just leave the mail on the desk." And I'm like, okay, where's the post office not going? There's something sneaky here.
So think about that. Those are all people. Those are all claims in there.
Yeah.
And that's not all of them. You got to scan a little farther.
Yeah, we're going to show more. We're going to show some more. So these are what Therese took. How long are you there? A month or so ago?
2 months ago.
2 months ago, right? Wide open. Now, when I did my video on the opener, you saw me sitting at the desk in a tripod. That's right there. I set my tripod on top where those bins are, and I was sitting under the sign. Well, they're all gone. So remember, I said the FBI is looking into this. I think that might be where they're gone. I don't think Naira's like kind of processing these.
I sort of heard that Chicago PD took it.
Well, this is a McHenry.
I know, but Chicago PD took it.
So that's all gone, right? So what's the next one? Oh, this is Mohammed's license. This one is expired that I took, but Therese said there's another one that they did.
Yep, on
update.
the other wall. Yep,
Yeah, that they did update.
I think it goes to 2027.
There's Mohammed Ibrahim Quadri. We got another one?
No, that was I only had those 4 images you sent over.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show the evidence of the equipment and stuff and how this is a shell company. And after that, we're gonna show you, because it's very important. We're gonna show you an NBC story from 2025 about a company called Rainbow, and we're gonna talk about it afterwards. But let's go through these 1, 2, and 3 clips, and we'll show them, and then I'll talk about them after. Show them first, and we'll talk about them.
Sounds good. All right, here goes number 1.
Hey, folks, we just came in the front door, right? So let's come on over here. Let's check out what's in here. Wow. There is a testing machine. I wonder if taxpayers paid for this. You can see it's still got the safety plastic on there. It's not being used. This is not being used at all, right? You take this off, it's even inside there, right? So this is some type of testing that's used for test lab services. So I'm assuming this here is exclusively for show. Yeah, there it is. It's not even plugged in, you guys. All right. This here for show, all for show. Let's come over here. All right. So we got computers. Look at these two lovely computers we got here. Oh, there's probably a lot of paperwork in the desks. Oh, no, nothing there. Is there more paperwork here? Oh, well, maybe we'll find some in the filing. Oh, nothing there. Let's make sure.
Look at those nice chairs.
Nothing. Nothing.
All right, so I like to have fun a little bit.
The
when we
boy,
do this stuff.
they keep a clean
Yeah.
shop.
So I mean, it's very obvious that this is a shell company, right? I mean, it's blatantly
It's a front.
And you know, Treese was there 2 months ago. Nothing's been used. The door's been open for 2 months.
Oh,
So
it's been open a long,
yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
it's from what we know for sure, you know. And so what I think is Aknad and his crew heard that something was onto them, and they ran out and they forgot to lock everything because they didn't give a shit.
No, I think they left
You
it
know?
open all the time. That's how they're getting their mail dropped.
Yeah,
You know.
But that makes no sense.
Oh, it's
you
been
know?
unlocked. I
And-
talked to everybody. Know
Well,
neighbors.
What if they were trying? What if they were trying to create the conditions that they could say they were robbed? The door was unlocked. Somebody came here and stole this medical equipment, or you know, I don't think there was a computer there either, Terry. I think that was just a monitor and a keyboard. I didn't see a computer. So,
Right. Yes, I didn't pick
It's a
up on it.
magic. It's a magic computer that you can't.
oh, right, one of those.
So-
magic.
So obviously they have one machine that they don't even use. So I don't know how many tests they're going to pump
And they,
out
and they
with
keep
it.
the samples cold, you know, in
Yeah.
a non-plugged-in refrigerator.
And they have the IKEA desks that they bought for like
$35. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's in them. So you want to do the next clip, and we'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, here we go.
What's this for? We've got another refrigerator. Brand new. Nothing ever put in the refrigerator. Oh my God.
Not
Here's the
plugged in,
back door.
open, wide open.
All right, folks, what's going on here? Huh? You think there's some fraud going on here? Why is this open? Why is there nobody here? Why is this equipment brand new? It's not being used. Why is there multiple corporations at the same address here, you guys? Is that not crazy?
At least I'm not saying you guys like I grew up in the South Side. I'm saying guys. I'm getting better as I got old. So I mean, again, obviously that's a shell. They threw the refrigerator in there to pretend they're going to cool the samples or whatever.
Well,
Don't
they have
plug
to
it.
get they had to get certified. So
Yeah.
that's how the IDPH works. So they have to come out and somebody, God knows that they really came out there. But that's not a cheap piece of equipment. That equipment is around 10 grand, 8 to 10 grand, I think is what that equipment is. So whoever fronted the money, they knew they were going to gain it back, and I'm sure they gained it back by hundreds times
Oh my
10,000.
God, you know what? I just came up with a good idea from what you said, and we'll talk about it. I want to share it on the screen. Yes.
Secrets.
Thank you. Don't forget to bring it up afterwards, all right?
I won't.
Got it?
I gotcha.
So,
Right here.
so we got another clip. And so remember, Trace had all those bins of those claims that were mass, and there was more. There was more beyond what was there. They're all gone, right? From when she went there. So let's show this next clip.
This is huge, you guys, all right? It's been empty, doors wide open for over a month, right? Look at this. What's in all of these? These are Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is what's in there. So they're not even opening their mail from Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is huge. All these bags are full of unopened Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois claims. All of them. So why aren't they answering it? Why isn't there anybody here? Why do they have equipment here that's not even plugged in? Why they got new equipment here that's never been used? It's big. It's a little baby Nick Shirley thing I got going on here, I think.
That's not just huge, it's huge.
Yeah.
So bags and bags of the
Dude, that has to be millions upon millions of dollars in fraudulent claims sitting right there.
Those are all people, right?
Yeah.
In those bags. Those are people in those bags that they're supposed to open and respond to, right? I mean, they're responsible for that stuff. And they didn't. And what's really important is that, one of the sources Treese mentioned made multiple calls to Blue Cross Blue Shield. Sorry, friends that work there. Sorry. And it's not your department, so I'm not sorry for my buddy. Sorry, not sorry. So anyway, they never call back. Blue Cross Blue Shield is like a big bureaucracy. It's like a big government. My wife worked there. She was actually the PMO for the claims transformation. The claims, a massive
They could use
billion-dollar
her back.
project.
They should have her
It
back.
was like 20 years ago. And they still never finished the job until like a few years ago. Blue Cross is like a big government operation. People are lifers, right? Lifers
Yes.
there. And so this person called a couple of times for a couple different scams.
Per my contact, it was repeated probably 20 times, and they wanted to change their insurance number so that they couldn't, and they said you can't. They wouldn't allow that, and that's another reason they got a hold of me and found me and said I need help, because nothing they could do would change what was happening. So so they couldn't change it. They pretty much laughed at him and said, whatever, don't worry about it. We're not going to process this claim, but some were processed.
Mm-hmm. So think about how we have skyrocketing insurance, right? All of us do, right? Think about how the payers cry and whine. Our margins are so thin. We're not making enough money. You think they would invest in, like, when they answer the goddamn phone for fraud, as many as they have, they spend the time, the money, and the labor to accept those calls, to use AI or whatever to find this stuff. And how much can they save? What would the return on investment if you have a couple people and you're finding these all over all these different frauds? I mean, Jesus Christ, it'll help lower our bills or stabilize them.
Even if you look at the smallest scale of this, if you didn't pay your bill to a hospital, if you did not pay a bill, they're coming after you. So now you have these entities that are creating all these bills that are just sucking the money out of the insurance world, and it's hurting people. Everybody needs to be diligent, but if you can be diligent and find the wrong thing on your bill, you have to keep pushing. You have to find a way to get it in front of somebody. If Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't take care of it for you, find somebody else. Keep going. Do a police report if it's fraudulent. Leave a trail.
So, go ahead, Mike.
Every one of those envelopes, anybody that wasn't a Medicaid or Medicare patient, even some of those, there's going to be copays associated with this. So as you said, they're also getting billed from hospitals and medical facilities for treatment they never got, they never ordered, was just put in their name so they had a legitimate patient to assign those records to, and then they just stole the money when the state or the feds or whoever paid that portion of the bill, and it went to Mohammed Quadri's little entity there. They were left holding the bag.
Yeah.
Well, the one was the federal employee program. I found that sort of funny that
the feds.
It was a federal employee, which is your
There's
postal,
probably FBI's
postal
too.
workers.
Dude, probably.
Yeah, so they're bilking the federal government right under
Yeah.
the nose.
And then you got some federal employee wonders, when did I go in for a full blood work? How do I owe this hospital $1,000? This never happened.
Yeah, the post office workers wouldn't even know. They'd be like, "Shit."
Or 94-year-old. How did I go for a pregnancy test?
Yeah.
So think about it. They're going into these convalescent homes, right, with these elderly people, and they don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? They have so many things that are, they're trying to stay alive that they're worried about. And then when you get these that come in from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you see it's paid, and you're an old person in a convalescent home, you might not even know or care, or somebody else might see it and they see it's paid, so it doesn't quickly rise to the top to say fraud because they're focusing on elderly people. So
Well, a lot of kids take care of their parents' billing, and they know mom's at a place, and they don't know what happens when she goes to the doctor. He goes to the doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, they just got all this. I mean, it's perfect. It's ripe for fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the video from NBC from
Rainbow.
about a year ago. Yes. And so Therese mentioned this earlier, Rainbow, and there's someone that she knows that charged Blue Cross Blue Shield for transitioning services. And I mean, that's how crazy these people are and the things that they do to steal from us. So I want to play this. So a lot of you might not have seen this yet, but it ties into how prevalent this is in our community in the Chicagoland area. So I want you to watch and listen. You'll probably learn some stuff here too.
NBC5 responds. For months, our team has been digging into a growing scheme of fake medical labs and phony medical providers who are really cashing in on your stolen insurance information. And here's the kicker. The fraud could mean your medical care is denied when you actually need it. PJ Rendow had tracked down almost a dozen phantom labs set up across the city.
Strange medical bills, providers they'd never heard of. The Larson family's health insurance was under attack, and they had no idea.
This is all money that Blue Cross Blue Shield has paid out to these people for services that we never received.
Deborah first noticed the strange lab charges on their Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance explanation of benefits last summer.
And they were all labs, and I knew, exactly what labs I had done, and I knew they weren't right.
Each week without fail, lab charges for diagnostic pathology were being billed under either Deborah or her husband Lance's name.
Sometimes we might get one or two. Sometimes we get a FedEx box full of them.
Sure, the Larsons weren't on the hook for those thousands in bogus claims, but they wanted nothing to do with the fraud.
Somebody's got my information, and they're using it for fraudulent purposes.
That's when the couple came across our NBC5 Response investigation from earlier that year.
To con insurance companies into paying out some big bucks.
Oh, wow, this is the exact same thing that's happened to us, and it's called phantom billing.
The couple say they reported the phantom bills to Blue Cross Blue Shield multiple times. They were even issued new health insurance policy numbers, but that didn't stop the fraud. Why? Well, we don't know. Blue Cross Blue Shield told us they couldn't comment specifically on the Larsons' case. But after that...
Did you ever hear back?
No.
In total, the Larsons' health insurance was billed more than $84,000 by 7 different lab companies with names like Rainbow Lab, Safina Enterprises, and Icon Events. We had questions, so that's when NBC5 Responds began calling each and every one of these labs that billed the Larsons' insurance.
Please hang up and try your call again later.
So almost all of the dozen phone numbers we just called were out of service.
Next, we headed to all the addresses we could find associated with the 7 labs and their registered agents. A few addresses took us to cultural learning and donation centers. But no one we spoke to knew anything about the labs that were supposed to be there.
We have a eviction notice.
The majority of the addresses took us to empty offices and storefronts. But people working next to these offices and businesses told us the same thing again and again.
Never seen anyone in there. The thieves have really moved over to healthcare and really taken it by storm.
Scott Speranza with insurance verification company HealthLock explains most phantom billing fraud originates from data breaches. According to the HIPAA Journal, more than 133 million patient records have been exposed in data breaches since 2021.
What happens is a fake billing company gets set up. They purchase group numbers, identity, ID numbers, Scott Speranza, my group number, and they submit a claim on my behalf. They receive money from the carrier, they shut down, they're a ghost, and now they've created all this havoc.
Speranza says many insurance companies use automation to process lower cost claims, so the fraud isn't always caught. But the insurance company isn't the only one paying the price.
I also could be denied a claim or partially denied because I've quote unquote ordered received that service.
And as their fake claims rack up, that's a worry that plagues the Larsons.
If it's happening to us, it's probably happening to a lot of different people.
We shared the results of our investigation with the FBI. A spokesperson there says they can't comment on any next steps they may take. Both the FBI and Blue Cross Blue Shield urge people to take a close look at their explanation of benefits to stop fraud like this. Now, most EOBs may say this is not a bill, but you could still end up paying for those services in the long run. So be sure to report any charges you don't recognize. PJ Randhawa, NBC5 responds.
Terry's just throwing stuff around the
big dog. So I got an update from that story. So first of all, the story is very interesting, right? See how many that we have throughout the Chicagoland area. So there's so many more, right? And hopefully people like us and others watching the show is going to help us find them and uncover them and expose them. So as I prepared for this story and got this is like from 2025. I'm not exactly sure, a little while ago. I ran it through AI, my favorite tool. And
Yes.
nobody's been arrested. Nobody. The FBI has not arrested anyone. It came back and said that these are hard. There's, the phantom billing and these fake labs have multiple layers of corporations and entities that make it hard. So, I mean, think about it. The FBI has not arrested anybody. And there's another common denominator across these companies. Let's see. Yahya Mahubububi Quadri. That was Safina Enterprises is owned by Vijay Kumar. That's an Indian, Indian Muslim. Rainbow Labs. They didn't show any owners. They couldn't find any owners.
It was out of Chicago, though, right?
Yeah. And then Gender Care. I'm sorry. There's another one here, and I forgot to write it down. There's another one of them is owned by a Muslim. So they're helping each other. They're teaching each other the tricks of the trade, So, and that's what's happening. And we got to stop it, and we got to do everything we can to try to find it and uncover it. So we have a couple of these EOBs here. Trees will read off, and keep in mind these came from one single individual. So go ahead.
There's just so many of them, and there's nothing listed as far as what the test was. But it's 223, 171, 21, 109, 21, all on the same date. So that
lab services. It says that's all it says. Lab services.
Lab services, and then you go to 229.51. And then you go to another 171.21 and 109.21. And these are all, a lot of these are on the same day. And then you go 229. And you notice that they keep all the costs very much the same. And they seem to want to bill like 503. Amount billed is the same amount, 503, 503, 503. So when my friend handed this over to me, I said, it'd have to be like a monkey in a cage to get this many done in one day.
Or they're automating it, and it populates it.
Populates it automatically.
Boom, boom, boom. That's why they're all 503.
503.
And they probably pick a number that is below the threshold for like an automatic review.
Yes, exactly, Mike. And
that's what Blue Cross did. Blue Cross did pay on some of these, is what she was telling me. She said that some of them were paid out. So if you take even 10% of these being paid out to this lab service, think about how much money they are making, and taking, and they can't change your service number. So this friend of mine tried to get her Blue Cross Blue Shield number changed. They won't allow her to change it. So she's like, well, what about someday when I need services, they're going to deny me because they ran this up. So yeah. So, but I mean, just there's got to be a threshold. So I think we need to push it back into Blue Cross Blue Shield's hands and the FBI and ask them, what are you doing?
Right.
We need some stuffed and cuffed people, man.
And if there's reasons that you can't track them down, let us know. I mean, I understand a lot of this stuff is confidential and ongoing. You don't want to disclose method and sources and all that bullshit they say. But when you're doing this for a long time like this, at least say, hey, this is what we're trying to do without getting into the specifics of your investigation processes and stuff. And say, unfortunately, just like AI told me, is that they have layers upon layers of corporations, of shell corporations, that makes it harder for our law enforcement. But at least let us know and make us aware of what to look for. So, this just popped on my radar thanks to Trace. Well, a couple months ago, and and coincidentally, about the same time, if you guys watch the show regularly, the invasion of the Muslims in our community, in my community, out in Bridgeview, Little Palestine
Yeah.
way, buying my church that I was an altar boy, used to drink the wine and steal the money. No, I didn't steal the money. Somebody else did.
Well,
And,
I mean, here's one other thing with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's like they're a publicly traded company. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their investors to hunt down fraud. They have to be good stewards of the money that's being put into their company. So anybody that owns shares of that, you can leverage that, force some accountability. Say, we just heard about all this fraud. What are you doing to investigate it? You've paid out millions and millions of dollars in fraudulent claims. That's money that either should have gone for expanding the company, expanding our book of business, or to profits that get paid to the shareholders. So,
I don't think they're public trading. I don't think they're traded.
The Blue Cross Blue Shield is not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think they are. But it doesn't matter. They're in business to make a profit, and then they're under certain strict guidelines by the government on how much they could charge for these government, invoices and stuff. They're controlled by the government for these government contracts.
For the government.
Yeah. So that means, and that's why they whine about their margins all the time and whatever. So we're going to show you, these are just newly developed targets of investigations. And so keep in mind that Naira was in a strip mall, just a standard little strip mall. And it was a shitty little, skinny little, nothing of a space, right? So they like to have as cheap as possible because they're scammers and they want to give the illusion of being legitimate. Some of them don't even give a shit, right? So we're going to show you a couple of photos of more Muslims, absolutely more Muslims. And we're not going to say their names because they're not guilty until we say they're guilty. We think they're guilty now, but we have
some more hunting to do.
we have, but we'll let the audience decide if
this is where you'd go, this is where you'd go to have a test done, or go for a practice. This is the one house.
Yeah. All right, Mike, throw up whichever one. I got two that go for mine, and there's one, the one house for the one tree sent. So pick up whatever you want to throw up.
All right. Well, hang on.
Those are in text messages. Remember?
Yeah, I've got those right here. Give me 1 second.
We just found
Sorry, go ahead.
Belt Road in Lombard.
Yeah, so
I found that one today.
Yeah, so that's one that she's looking at. There's another one I'm looking at out in Naperville, and the one I'm looking at, and you'll see the facility when Mike pops it up. It says it services 300 elderly or convalescent homes in the area, and so tell me if it looks like the type of facility that would have that kind of volume going through it.
Yeah, and sorry, it's going to be a second. These saved to the wrong folder. That's why I didn't see them a minute ago.
Tracy, you know any good jokes?
The best joke is Blue Cross Blue Shield. But what the one thing is you can do is you can pull, a little education moment is that if you see a clinic and you go, there's no cars there.
Okay.
This
is Trace's new one here.
This is my new one. This is a practice, guys. This has got an NP1-2, which means there's a billing for medical services, and this is the place of practice, just so you know. So I don't think I've ever gone to a place in Mount Prospect.
Yeah, this is Aknad. This is another Aknad.
Ahmed.
Aknad.
Anna.
So, you want to go to the other ones, the one I was talking about just a few minutes ago that supports 300 plus elderly convalescent homes.
Yeah, let me get that pulled up right now.
They certainly have done their homework and they know how to fly under the radar. They've really, there must be a class at the Leering Center for it.
This is, And the name of the company over my shoulder is not the company, right? So it's not the company. It's the one with the 402E. And so this is this is the company, and the whole little nasty like 1960 strip mall looks identical to the what's behind me there. Just a nasty, dumpy, and that with the glass window is a company that says it supports over 300 convalescent homes of lab testing. And then in the same facility, and again, we're going to share this later when we find more, there's multiple healthcare providers in the same little shitty, like that one over my shoulder. Yeah,
people
Healthcare
yet. They're
Solutions.
trying to undermine Christians and faith.
Oh, sorry, I got something playing in the background.
Yeah, so that's another healthcare.
Fairly successfully in Europe. Look at London.
There's a number of these throughout this strip mall. I went and asked a business a couple doors down from there, and it was another healthcare with like 3 Jamaicans. They saw me out there taking pictures. I think I scared the shit out of them, and then I went in there to talk to them, and so I bet you that there's a lot of fraud that's going in that same facility. A lot of what Nick Shirley and others have discovered, they kind of
They group
gravitate.
together.
Yeah, they
group
cluster
together
together.
because then they watch probably for each other, and and if they can boggle the post office, with where they deliver their mail to.
Yeah, and then right across the street is this big, massive Muslim center. So could be a coincidence, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Well, they'll probably pass a law to stop you in Illinois, like they passed in California to stop Nick Shirley.
Yeah. So as we close this out, and I want to spend the last few minutes talking about what happened with the Supreme Court today because it pisses me off. But please, people, if you see this, share it. Tell your friends, family, neighbors to please be vigilant. Look out for some of these things. If you see them and it says paid, but you didn't get the service, just don't throw it out and say, "Oh, no, I don't have to care. I don't worry about it. It was paid." Because somebody's paying for it. There's nothing for free, as your parents told you when you were a kid. Nothing's for free, and nothing is for free. And we need to find these scumbags.
I got 2 last images. These are both screenshots off a computer. You want me to bring these up too?
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, but forgot.
Oh, that's my newest one.
Yeah, well, you could drop that right now until we're done investigating. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Yep, that's a work in progress.
That's another one.
It's a knock-knock, but so
The next scammer.
Yeah, for the last few minutes, let's talk about the Supreme Court decision today. Mike, I know you've been watching all day and doing your other shows, so why don't you summarize it because you're on top of it.
Dude, I almost think the Supreme Court wants a civil war at this point, considering they're smacking the left and the right now. The left, you're not. So we'll go good news first. No more transgenders in sports. But to the left, that's one of their sacred cows, so they're all upset about that. But we're getting screwed here too. Apparently, election day is just an idea now, kind of like Antifa. The Supreme Court ruled, you don't have to conclude your election on any day because it's not stated in any law, even though it's obviously implied. So they can just keep counting ballots forever. So you already know what's going to happen in California, and Illinois, and other blue states like that. If a conservative or Republican wins, they're just going to keep counting. And technically, they don't have to seat that person because they can say it's an ongoing election. And don't be surprised if you see this kind of nonsense. This sounds crazy, but watch California do it. Let's say one of these seats in the Central Valley in a solid red area of California, because a few of those do still exist. Let's say we got a candidate. There's conservatives clearly won. Well, California now could say, well, we sent out 150,000 mail-in ballots, and we only got 100,000 back. So we are going to wait so those 50,000 voices are heard. And you know what? We can't declare. We missed the January 3rd deadline. Guess what, guys? I guess we can't seat that Republican now. Again, this sounds crazy, but the Supreme Court could literally do that. Then we have birthright citizenship, which, man, Alito and Thomas's dissent on this is perfect. But Amy Coney Barrett, I don't know what's wrong with her. If they've got dirt on her, maybe she flew out to Pedophile Island. I don't know. But this again seems obvious. But they're saying, you can be an illegal alien from China, fly here, drop the baby right after you get to the airport in LA, or Guam, just fly into Guam, have the baby there. It doesn't matter. They're now a U.S. citizen permanently. And obviously the intention of the 14th Amendment was not to make anybody born in the U.S. automatically a citizen. It only applied to people under the jurisdiction of the United States. This has been upheld by the Supreme Court previously, where children of diplomats that were born here were not granted U.S. citizens because their allegiance was to France or wherever, not to the United States. So they were not under our jurisdiction. But now that's been reversed. So now anchor babies are great again.
Let me throw this in. You got to look at the Chinese part of it. So those anchor babies are born here, go back, and are raised in China. Now can come back to our homeland
As spies.
as not just as spies, but as voting citizens and as a fighting army. You have millions that will come back, is raised in China in a communist country, to come back here.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, it's
there
not
you
just
go.
military spies, but corporate spies, meaning
Everything.
taking trade secrets, and,
everything.
influencing the outcome.
Hey, they could run for president if they wanted to.
And
Bingo.
Yeah, and
A
influencing-
literal Manchurian candidate.
Yeah,
Bingo.
yeah. So
It's far-reaching, man. It's
It's
far-reaching.
really disgusting that Amy Barrett is a piece of shit.
She's a disappointment, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're never going to pass the SAVE Act or do anything else to reinforce our voting laws. They tried to get Scott Pressler arrested there yesterday for going after Thune, trying to hold him accountable.
Yes.
I mean, these people are disgusting.
I bet you Scott wouldn't mind doing a couple days locked up in a cell with a few other men.
Probably not, but
I think I think we need to leave that guy as a free bird. Let him do his work, man. That
Yeah.
guy he's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. I know Scott. I like him.
Yeah.
I guess we're done. Again, people, if you find anything that looks concerning or suspicious, just reach out to us. You got all the different platforms. You could DM me on X or Facebook or whatever. YouTube, you can send a message, and we'll look into it as best we can.
You need to do a follow-up with the voter fraud.
Oh, thank
Dude.
you for bringing it up. So Lisa, who's part of Behind Enemy Lines and on the marketing side, and she does a great job for us for the whole time we've been around, is she works in voter fraud in Illinois, right? She's like one of the leaders in that for us. And she, with the information that we have to date, is going to try to see if we could tie this to voter fraud, because everyone knows it's ripe for voter fraud with these people are criminals, right? So they're going to scam for Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're going to scam and sell these potential voter rolls or whatever, these people's IDs to try to get
jeez.
Well, they look at on the dark web. You got to look at the value of information on the dark web. I think actually your insurance information is worth more on the dark web than your social security number. If I might be wrong on that, but I know I read somewhere where the value.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, the dark web has a price point on everything about you.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Michael, for letting me sit in and talk about my first try at being an investigator.
Well, you did good work. We're going to have to get you back and stay on this story because, again, this is big. And this is literally the same thing that we saw going on in Little Mogadishu, in Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, out in Maine, out in LA. And I'm going to be willing to bet, by the end of the day, these same addresses, there's probably going to be 5 other scams associated with them that you haven't even uncovered yet, because that's the pattern we saw. I mean, the infamous Leering Center had 4 different scams run out of it. And don't forget, over the last 4 years, they donated $6 million to Democrat campaigns in Minnesota because they were running their Leering Center at a little over $1 million a year that the taxpayers on the hook for. They had a fake food bank or food whatever on the front side of the building, a restaurant, and then it was a feeding our future, feeding our whatever scam that they were bringing in about $6 million from. And then they had some sort of, I can't remember if it was an autism scam or it was some other health related scam run out of the address on the back side of the building. But they had 4 different ones going, brought in some probably around 12 million. I've heard up to as much as 14 million over just the last 4 years. 6 million of it went to Democrats. So, This has been a giant money laundering campaign, not to mention, kicking back $1 million a day back to Mogadishu. So we got to put an end to this. This is going to be over $1 trillion in fraud nationwide when it's all said and done. There are over 20 million in Minnesota and nobody lives in Minnesota. Or sorry, over 20 billion in Minnesota and nobody lives there. Here in Ohio, we're already at 4 billion. Maine's at 2 billion. And California, I have a source in the DOJ that's told me they are already over $200 billion in investigations right now. Not in charges, but in open cases they're investigating.
Yeah, and Chicago's going to be massive too.
Dude, it's going to be 100 billion or more there.
I'm going to bet that all those guys that are running these clinics have their PhD from the Leering Center, is what I'm going to guess. If they have their
Probably.
from the Leering Center.
Yeah, University of Australia Online. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me on. Thanks for letting me tell the story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. To the audience, thank you for joining us here today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. We'll be back on Thursday with even more.